Hi, I'm David Subkoyak.
I'm Annie Asher.
And we are the hosts of a brand new podcast called Passive Aggression.
Passive Aggression is an entertainment lifestyle podcast that covers anything and everything.
We have different episode types discussing big moments, entertainment, our personal favorites, and specific topics.
We take deep dives into general topics like how to live the say lovey lifestyle and why is reality TV great.
And we love discussing movies like Legally Blonde and shows like Glee.
Each episode culminates with our Flames and Shames, where we talk about the best and worst parts of our weeks.
Annie and I are best friends, pop culture phenoms, and teenagers who love to chit-chat.
If you are looking for a way to spice up your day by learning something new,
or by hearing some candid opinions,
be sure to listen to Passive Aggression on all platforms.
You can follow us on Instagram at Passive Aggression Pod for behind the scenes, giveaways, updates, and so much more.
Our episodes are released every Tuesday. See you there.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for joining the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe.
On this show, we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear.
That means we're going to talk about some of the best movies from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s.
So thank you for joining us. Now let's get it started in here. Hi, this is Zach.
And this is Zoe, and welcome to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe, where we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear. The reason we started this show was to strengthen the bond between my son Zach and me, Zoe. We watched movies that I loved when I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we get Zach's impressions on these great movies.
If you like our show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser.com, or your favorite podcast app.
And this is actually going to be a very different show because of a series of circumstances and mishaps and whatnot. So in case I forgot to mention, this is the 38th episode. We have a very special guest with us. And look, I just want to say that through trial and error, through mishaps and miscommunications, we could get stuff done. So
yes, we can. This one's on me, though. This one's on me.
So without further ado, we bring you our special guest host, the co-host of the Mad Dad Movie Review Podcast, and the creator and co-host of the Film Effect Podcast. You can find him on Facebook and Instagram at the Film Effect Podcast, or on Twitter at Film Effect Pod, and on the web at podpage.com/the-film-effect-podcast. No worries. You don't have to memorize all that. We're going to have that information in the show notes.
It's a tongue twister.
This man whose insights into films that are discussed on his shows are both unique and impactful. Please welcome a well-respected citizen of Baltimore, the hostess with the mostest, Ed Snyder. Let's give him a clap.
Wow. That is amazing. I've never had an intro like that before. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
I try my best because I'm a crap interviewer, so I have to make it up somehow. So how you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, first and foremost. I love talking film, obviously. So yeah, I'm ready to do this. So let's just get out of the way now. The little mishap that you kind of teased at the top of this.
Right. So here's what happened.
Project X.
Here's what happened, folks.
Yeah.
And Ed, you heard earlier, he took it upon himself and said it was kind of his fault, but originally it was my fault because I had a brain fart. See, we were supposed to do Lethal Weapon together, isn't that right, Ed? Lethal Weapon.
Right, exactly.
And because we were getting too old for this shit. But what happened was I had a brain fart and I viewed Lethal Weapon early because I actually had another guest and he had to cancel because he had an emergency. So I was scrambling to find a movie. And instead of, looking at my schedules and everything, I just went and I was like, I'll just do this one right here. And I did Lethal Weapon without Ed. And Ed was like, whoa, what the F, man?
I saw it because I subscribe, of course, and I saw it pop up and you were doing Lethal Weapon. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
I don't remember doing that one. Wait, hang on a second. And I messaged you and it was like,
Zach doesn't have his video on, but he's
okay.
giving me that look, that your dumb old man look, but I assure you, Zachary, I am a genius.
That's okay.
So, so what happened is that, so I watched it. Ed let me know. I was like, oh shoot, it's all my fault. We'll pick another movie. So I sent Ed a list of movies. And
another list, of course.
And what did you choose, Ed?
I picked Project X, not even thinking that there's two
here's
Hollywood pictures named Project X, because there's an 80s version. And of course, go on, explain this one.
Here's the thing. I, on the other hand, I just sent Project X. Like for some films, you want to put the date because you know there are two versions. There's usually a film and a remake, so you want to differentiate. For example, one of the movies on the list was Planet of the Apes. Now, obviously, there are a couple of remakes of that film, so I wanted to make sure that he knew it was 1968 version. So I could have did the same thing with Project X, but I did not because in my mind, there's only one Project X. It's Matthew Broderick and a monkey. That's all I know. Or, okay, politically correct. They prefer chimpanzee, but you know what I'm talking about.
And
Isn't
Dabney Coleman in that movie also?
No, it's
I've never seen it before.
No, it's
I've never seen the film.
It's Meg Ryan. I think it's Meg Ryan when she was a wee tight. She had a wee tyke.
Okay,
she was in that movie, and I don't know. I don't think Daphne Coleman. I didn't see her when I was doing research on that one. But anyways, so yeah. I'm thinking one movie, Ed thinking another movie, because Ed is from a totally different generation. I think Ed and Zach are about the same age. Zach, how old are you?
I'm 24, about to be 25.
Is that about right, Ed?
Oh wow, no,
you're in your 30s.
I'll be 37 in a month.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm in my mid 30s, pushing 40 now.
Okay. So
don't look deceive you.
So you might have been familiar with the original Project X, but maybe not all the way.
The Project X that you're thinking of came out, I believe, 83, which was the year before I was born. I was born in 84.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's irrelevant. I've still never seen it. That film is on a list of movies that, like, I know I'll get to before I die, but haven't quite gotten there yet.
No, it's not. When you chose it, I was like, I don't even know if I like that movie all that much. But
okay,
but,
so
but I remember,
I don't feel that bad, but
I remember enjoying it when I was younger, so I was like, well, it doesn't hurt to take another look. I only put it on there because I was like, I might enjoy it. I don't know, I might. But anyways, so it's basically two different generations having two different ideas of what we're supposed to be doing, and then so what happened was I started listening to the Film Effect podcast, the latest episode, which one was it?
Point Break.
That is correct. It was Point Break. Y'all was talking. You was letting the audience know that you were going to be on this podcast, the Backlook Cinema.
That's right. And we talked about it for a minute because my co-host is not the biggest fan of this movie, and he had his opinions known on that episode. And so that's okay. So you heard that. Okay.
What happened was he said, I'm not good with the shaky cam, and I was like, there's no shaky cam in Project X.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh my God, he's talking about a completely different. He's talking about the one that I totally ignored, the one that came out in 2012. Because I'm thinking, because I knew that.
Yeah, don't worry. Most people did.
So I knew what happened was that you were talking about the other movie, because the other movie is also on HBO Max. And the other movie has the same name.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And so that's what I thought you were going by. I thought you was going by the fact that it was on HBO Max. So
right.
I was like, well, he must be talking about this other one. And well, we are talking about the one where there's a pool party, correct?
Yeah, okay. And I before we get into it, I got to give it to you, whoever it was, either you, your son, or both of you guys, the quick turnaround on this, because we talked about it about just like 4 hours ago or so.
Right.
And you were able to pull this off in that amount of time. So I'm impressed. I really am. That's awesome. So
what's funny?
We ended up doing it after all.
What's funny is that we could have started sooner, but mounting the TV on the wall, that wasn't the hard part. Because I was telling you I got a new TV, or early birthday present to me, is all the technical stuff, setting up the TV itself with the software and whatnot. And I got mad frustrated because
it takes a minute.
Well, here's the thing. It's a new TV. It's a LG NanoCell, right? So I got a different brand, a former brand.
Oh, good.
Right. So the former brand brand was Vizio. I really liked the Vizio. And the nanocells seem to have all the same technology, except the screen is upgraded and whatnot. So I figured, that's the way to go. Bring it home, set it up. So the hardest part of the setup was trying to get the Google. I wanted to stream HBO from my phone to the TV because the smart tech on the nanocell, it doesn't have the HBO Max app on it, right? And I don't have HBO.
Oh, wow.
So the only way to watch it is to stream it from my phone. Use Google.
Right, I see what you're doing.
Smartcast or whatever you call it. So
Smartcast,
right,
yeah.
So, the Vizio TV does it easily and effortlessly. It's like you set up the Google Assistant, it finds the device that you want to connect, and you're golden. It's like it's effortless. But with the LG, it did not happen. It's like I was trying to connect. The Google could not find the TV, even though it's sitting right there in my face. Even though the app, the icon for the TV was on the phone, it had the name of the TV in the Google Home app, but it would not connect to the TV. It kept saying it couldn't find it. I just woke up Google on my phone. That's kind of messed up. So anyways,
Google.
Yeah, it's she's very alert. So anyways, so I was messing with that for like probably 45 minutes. But grandson was out there. He was trying to help me. We were both befuddled. Can't do it. And so, and he considers himself real tech savvy. So he thought he could get it done.
Okay.
Neither of us could get it done. It just wasn't working. And apparently there are other people with this issue with LG TVs. So I had to go and find my doggo for Chromecast, the original dongle. I don't even have the upgraded version. Yep. I plugged that in and it worked like a charm. So, and then we just barely got all that done in time, watched the movie, and then came back here.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Oh my God, it was incredible. So let me go ahead and ask you a couple of questions. I'm not a great interviewer. Everybody knows this. I'll ask you a couple of questions.
That's okay.
If anything out of bounds, just let me know. All right. So
no, that's fine.
One thing I want to ask you is how long did you have the idea of doing the film podcast with your daughter before you actually started publishing your show?
Good question. About a year and a half.
Oh wow, it was
not that long. It was about a year and a couple months, give or take. I can tell you how it all started.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we started in August of last year, so August 2020, and the year prior to that, the summer of 2019, in June, her and I and my close friend Brian. Sometimes we'll talk about him on the show. I call him Burleson. The three of us went and saw the Child's Play remake. And coming out of that movie, me and my daughter were kind of taken back that we were expecting it to be one thing and it ended up being something else. And it's just kind of unexpected. And we wanted to talk about it. And we didn't really quite have the full podcast idea down pat. We ended up recording like a little, I still have the episode actually. We recorded kind of like a hour-long review in the car. It was kind of a concept, kind of like, James Corden has the drive-alongs, the sing-along, whatever they call it, the drive karaoke or whatever it is. Well, we kind of wanted to do, like, I put my camera phone up, hoisted it up on the mount, and we just kind of like drove around and recorded an hour-long review. And it kind of went nowhere. And
was that something that you put on YouTube?
Of course, no, I didn't do anything.
Oh,
with
okay.
It. The only thing you can find online is a little 2-minute like little promo video that we posted before we recorded it, saying like, "You got a secret project coming up."
Right. Oh, when you said it went nowhere, I thought you meant that nobody watched it.
It went nowhere. No. It went nowhere. Literally,
right.
We did nothing with it. It's sitting on my phone still. I was watching it the other day actually. And cut to last year, obviously we're all stuck inside, pandemic, and podcasting seemed like the trendy thing, but I wasn't really going for that. We had this idea sort of on the back burner, and I figured, all right, let's try this whole podcast thing out. And in the first couple episodes were actually recorded straight off of my iPhone, and then I finally went and went to the store and got a mic and all the equipment. Slowly but surely leading up to what I have all today. And yeah, so that's where it all started about a year prior to that.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
That little story tied in. So yeah.
Now, this is something that she drew you into, or did you have to draw her into it?
I'd say it was more of a mutual thing. I'm kind of like the dad and her being at that right age where I can just take her to movies and introduce her to all the classics and stuff.
Right.
Obviously what you're doing with your son with the show. And it's kind of the same idea. And I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But that's where it started. It started based off of that. And then, with her being tech savvy, she's also doing like TikToks and stuff, which I have no idea what that is still to this day.
Right.
And she's into all that. So she has her own account. She does the whole Twitch thing. And this is a no-brainer
right.
podcasting,
Yeah.
So we just took one idea, mended it with another, came up with the name kind of just was a natural thing. We didn't put much thought into it. It was kind of a clever Mad, short for Mads.
Right.
Dad, rhymes with Mad, movie review, boom. So yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
So that's what that came from.
So you had mentioned TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah, her name is Madeline, for the record.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Mad Dad. Oh, that's clever. now I'm putting it together.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it, I'm thinking, okay, I guess he's an angry dad, or he's playing like an angry motif.
And that joke came up on the show a couple of episodes,
right.
where it's like people are gonna start thinking I'm like this crazy dad.
Right. It's really Madison and Dad.
Her name is Madeline. So
I'm sorry.
Mad
yeah.
short. Yeah.
So you had mentioned TikTok. I'm not all that familiar with it either, but I'm starting to see more and more of the TikTok videos. And it seems to me that it's like YouTube, but faster. That's what I gather about it.
I've never even went as far as to download the try it out. I'm totally oblivious to it. To be honest, I wouldn't even know what to do with it, because when people asked me what is TikTok and I had to give them an answer, it would be people dancing to copyright music.
Right. That's pretty much it.
So what does that have to do with the movie? What does that have to do with the movies?
Right.
Another best way to put it is another way to view Vines.
Yeah, that's correct. Remember Vine?
And I remember Vine. Vine was. Right. I remember Vine from like 7-8 years ago.
So, another question is, how has your daughter's perspective changed how you look at movies?
How I look at movies, her? Like
how has your daughter's perspective? Has your daughter's
how has her perspective? How has it changed since I've got her into
how
movies?
How has her perspective changed how you look at movies?
I want to make sure I understand the question before I answer it.
Your daughter looks at a movie a certain way, so. Is there anything or has she said anything or had a certain insight change how you saw a movie that you seen maybe 3 or 4 times?
I think I know what you're saying. Has she pointed things out to me, like things that I've learned that she's
right?
Yeah, I guess this answer counts. So. I don't know if you know this, but we're kind of also in the middle of doing a retrospective on the Halloween franchise, since there's a new Halloween movie coming in October, and her and I are big horror fans.
Right.
So we've been going through all of them. There's 12 of those things. So we're currently on the 4th one. And for that particular film, there was a moment that all the years, I've told the story a couple times on the show, or I've seen that movie countless times growing up. It was one of a childhood favorites of mine. So I've seen it numerous times, well over 20. And when I showed it to her a couple years ago, she pointed something out to me that I had never noticed all those times I've seen this movie before. And it was actually a moment where you actually can see Michael Myers in the background, and it just freaked me out. And not the fact that she was teaching me something, but just what she was pointing out to me, I'd never noticed before in my entire life, until she, of all times, her first time seeing it, points it out to me, and it was a scary moment. So I think to elaborate more on the on your answer, with her being so young, I think she kind of looks at movies more with like a microscope, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, she'll be quick to point things out to me, whether or not I've noticed it before. Most of the time I do know it because I'm a big movie geek like that. But, there are moments like I just described where she'll surprise me with something that not even I know.
Right,
So,
right. Oh, that's nice. And plus she's seeing it for the first time. So it's like, I feel like she might be taking everything in at that moment.
Yeah, she does for the most part.
All right.
Yeah, we actually got done watching last night our first movie for Mad Dad, because Mad Dad movie review has been on hiatus since February, and we put out an episode a month ago today talking about how we're coming back, and our first movie back is The Maze Runner, a movie I'd never seen before, and she's obsessed with those movies. I guess she's at that age, and I got to be honest with you, without spoiling anything, because we're going to record it after this later on tonight. That movie kind of blew me away.
Oh, okay.
I was not surprised. I was not expecting that. You ever seen it?
I have not seen it. I feel like I've aged out. So
same here. And it had not been for her, I would probably never see this movie.
Right. Somebody will have.
But I was taken back at how good it was.
Right. So
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Like, I have no doubt that it's a good movie. I just I feel like I'll watch the teenage movies that I liked when I was a teenager, but I don't feel the urge to watch like new teenage movies. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand that. I'm the same way. Exactly.
Right. Shout out to the movie that we're about to talk about now. So the next question is, so looking at the episodes published on Mad Dad Review, it seems that you've looked at both horror and action genres. Are these the genres that you both gravitate to? Or do you find that she takes more after you or her mother in her taste in movies?
Definitely me, because her mother has absolutely zero taste in movies because she doesn't watch movies. She's the exact opposite of me.
Right,
when it comes to that.
Are you saying her mother's the exact opposite of you?
Her mother's the exact opposite. She doesn't watch movies at all. She was never into movies, and that's just the way it is.
Right.
So I was always the movie person. I'm the one who introduced her to everything. I'd say she's more into, I'd say, horror than most.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because of me, because that's obviously my favorite genre, but I don't know. She has more of a, I don't want to word this. She broadens her horizons more. I don't know. Like, she'll go see the movies that I won't touch with a 10-foot pole, like the Wish Upon, and what are some other ones that were like marketed to teens, like your Blumhouse movies for the most part, the ghost stuff,
right?
That's stuff that I'm just not into, because they're a dime a dozen. They're every weekend a new one comes out, whether it's on VOD or at the theater,
right?
And it's just tiresome. But she'll go see them all,
right?
Because that's just her age set,
right? Yeah, I was just talking earlier with a friend of mine that horror is very difficult for me to watch, especially when it's done well.
It's not for everyone.
Right. As a matter of fact, ironically, when it's done right is when I'm the most squeamish. So the best horror movie that I've seen in a long time is Saw, and it's not Saw 2, right? Because I didn't see any of the Saw movies. Just so happened to be on. I was in a room with some friends. It's like, okay, I'll sit down and watch this movie. And it was great because it was gory, it was intelligent, and it had a very interesting take on how horror movies can be done. And I was properly horrified because it is a horror movie. I was totally squeamish. I was like, okay, I don't ever need to see another Saw movie. I'm good. I'm done with that. So right around my level is like Us or something like that. Something that's more suspenseful than it is horrific. So but you obviously go way down deep into the bloodiest and the goriest things that you can find.
Yeah, but it's more than just that. Like, I don't, of course I like that stuff, but like, I just like an overall smart horror movie, something that's good, something different, something unique. You mentioned not Ma. You mentioned Us.
Us, right?
Us. A film that my daughter and I saw in the theater, a movie that she ended up putting on her best of list at the end of the year,
Right?
And it's a movie that I wanted to like so bad because I'm just a fan of Jordan Peele,
Right?
And I was such a fan of Get Out that I just wanted this to be good, like a worthy follow up film. But that movie had I had a big problem with the twist. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't seen the film, but I don't know. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
At the end, I try to wrap my head around it. I still, to this day, from time to time, try to wrap my head around it. I just can't, and I got a problem with that. I don't know.
I bet you're not the only one.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah,
right. You're not the only one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I A for effort. He tried, but I don't know. That one was just too left field for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you play horror video games as well?
No, I'm not. I'm the exact opposite. I'm not a gamer at all.
Oh, okay.
That's my kid brother Andrew.
Right.
He's the big gamer.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Well, that's great. That's just fascinating to learn more about you and to have a true horror fan in the room because, like, I don't know, Zach, how do you feel about horror movies? You into it?
I seen and think a couple.
I mean, do you like them?
They're decent when they're good.
Oh,
The one I
okay.
didn't like was Unfriended. That was horrible.
Now, do you say it's horrible because...
See, that's a Madeline movie.
Right, okay. So is it horrible because it scared you or is it horrible because it was corny and cheesy?
It was corny and cheesy. Like, some of the things I just was like, I understand it's supposed to be a horror movie, a horror ghost movie, but I'm like, this is on, what was it, Skype. You're telling me a ghost is doing...
Is that the one with all the webcams?
Yeah, where they're all on Skype and everything's going nonsense, and I'm like, what?
Wasn't there a death scene involving a blender?
Yeah, where the guy stuck his hand, I think it was either the male or female, stuck their hand in the blender. I was like, really? Another one drunk bleach? I'm like, you're telling me the ghost possessed them? Okay. And they couldn't just turn off their computers?
I know what you're talking about.
Well, more my speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. More my speed is more like I like the funny horror that kind of tickles me. So one of the movies that we did on the show was House. So that was a real fun movie for me. I will watch that over and over again.
William Catt.
Right. Absolutely.
William Catt and Richard Mole.
Right. Love that movie.
That was a Steve Miner movie. I know all about House, man. I love me some House. House and House 2.
Well, I didn't watch House 2. I was afraid it wouldn't live up.
Oh, you got to watch House 2, the second story. It's so good. It's just as good as the first one, trust me.
All right. Because House really, it really did it for me. And then there's another movie that I watched. I don't know if anybody talks about it anymore, but it's a movie called 13 Ghosts. And it's with...
yeah.
Oh, you remember that? It's the dude that was...
Matthew Lillard.
Well, it's also had the dude from... I'm trying to think.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yes, Tony Shalhoub, that guy. and there was a rapper. I forgot her name, but I haven't seen her in any. She was real good in that movie.
Rod Digger.
Yeah,
Rod Digger was her name.
Right. And I really loved that movie. I was like, I really couldn't even count it as a horror movie. It's almost a comedy.
Yeah, it I could see the intent, but it was kind of zany.
Right.
I don't know. I like that. I like it though. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
Right. It was a fun movie, and I really enjoyed that. So let's carry on. Let us move along to the actual subject of the matter. Zachary, if you please, what movie did we just finish watching?
Project X that came out in 2012.
Yes, Project X, circa 2012. Tell us about this movie.
3 high school seniors throw a birthday party to make a name for themselves. As the night progresses, things spiral out of control as word of the party spreads. And that was by
I think that's Calichiani.
Calichiani? Okay.
That's what I'm going to call it, because that's a weird spelling of a weird name. Somebody got real creative. We got that from IMDb, where we get almost all of our information from. You know what? If they accepted donations, I would give it. So this movie was released on March 4th, 2012 by Green Hat Films and Silver Pictures. It grossed over $18 million in the U.S. and Canada and over $21 million worldwide on an $18 million budget. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. That ain't right. I don't know if I wrote the right information. That looks right. I thought I put it. Let me double check. Let me go to the internet.
What'd you just say? Say it again.
I said it was on a $18 million in the U.S. and $21 billion worldwide. I don't think I changed that, because you know what he did? What happened was, when I write these things, instead of writing like a brand new project, like from a blank sheet of paper, I just take the previous project and I just type over the words.
It was on a $12 million budget.
You said $12 million?
$12 million budget.
What else you got?
And it made $54.7 million in North
I thought
America.
I saw that. I was like, well, these numbers are totally off.
48 million in other territories.
All right, so say that again, please.
It said it made, I'm reading 54.7 million in North America and 48 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of 102.7 million.
And what was the budget
against
for
the
that?
budget of 12 million? 12.
Wow.
It made money. It definitely made some money.
That was a hit. That was technically a hit. This movie smashed.
Oh yeah. even when you consider marketing and stuff, it definitely made money.
Right. They you can tell it was, that looked like a $12 million budget movie.
Oh yeah.
It looked like it could have been made for a lot less. So this movie was starring Thomas Mann, who played Thomas. He was in Me and Earl and the Dying Girl and Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters.
You have Oliver Cooper playing
Cooper.
Costa. He was in
tripping up already.
Californication and Red Oaks.
Oh, you saved yourself with the rescue. Also, Jonathan Daniel Brown, who played JB, he was in Horseshoe Theory and Kid Cannabis.
Dax Flame as Dax. He was in 21 Jump Street and The Watch.
Kirby Bliss Blanton, who played Kirby. She was in Green Inferno and Death Wish.
Brandon Henner.
No, that's Brady.
Oh, Brady Henner. Everett?
Yep.
It was in Infamous and Those Who Can't. Infamous, the game?
No, there's a movie called Infamous.
Okay.
There's Nick Neveres, who played Tyler. He was in Role Models and The Soloist.
Alexis Snap. He played as Alexis, Pitch Perfect, and So Undercover.
And Miles Teller, who played Miles. He was in Whiplash and Sergeant and the infamous Fantastic Four. That who put that out? Fox.
Ooh.
Oh man,
yes.
He was in the worst. No, okay, I'll give it that he wasn't in the worst Fantastic Four movie, but he was in the worst theatrically released Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
But he's the only one that I can make a comment on, because I'm not familiar with any of this young talent, and nor any other movies except maybe 21 Jump Street, which was an outstanding film. It was a masterpiece, if you will, especially if you grew up watching the TV series and you hear that, okay, they're going to remake it. It's like, and then you're worried because they're going to trash your childhood. But no, they reimagined my childhood in strange and magical ways, and all the proper praise.
Always clever.
Yeah, all the proper praise to those who made that movie. So this movie was written by Matt Drake and Michael Bacall. So Drake wrote Charlie Countryman and Tully. Is anyone familiar with Charlie Countryman?
I'm not, no.
Yeah, long pause. So neither am I.
I'm not, no.
The only reason I mention it is because a boy from the Transformers was in there. Who's that dude, Zachary?
What are you talking about?
The dude that was in the first Transformers movie.
I
forgot to write his name down. He was in Holes, remember?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either.
All right.
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
there
you.
he
Thank
is.
you.
Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf was in Charlie Countryman. So that's the type of movies he's in nowadays. And
yeah, a lot of indie stuff.
right. Michael Bacall wrote Scott Pilgrim versus the World and 21 Jump Street. And there's a neat story.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, there's a neat story behind that.
Did we go over who was it directed by? Directed by...
Oh, you know what? I totally skipped over that.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
know you did. Nima Norazita.
Because he didn't want to butcher that name.
There's also that too. Yeah, that's a weird name for me. Directed America Ultra and short videos.
Well, short videos, because he directed a lot of music videos and short form videos or short form stories. So this was I think this was his first major motion picture. So he kind of...
It was. He's only done 2.
Right. He did pretty well for this movie. I haven't seen American Ultra, but as far as... It's almost like an experimental project, and I think it works out well. So to producers, and this is because it has so many executive producers, which is strange. So we have Scott Budnick, Marty P. Ewing, Alex Heinzman, Todd Phillips, Steve Richards, Andrew Rona, and Joel Silver, who's... I think I recognize that name. I think he's the only executive producer on this list that I recognize. So,
because Joel Silver produced all of Warner Brothers movies.
Right. He seems like he produces everything. What's next, Zach?
Yeah, he does.
Apparently that's it for the rundown. And if you're enjoying the show, remember that you can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, jersey, and more at our website, backlookcinema.com, where you can click the link to either teesprings.com or tpublic.com.
All right. So this is where we take a break, and then we're going to come back. And oh, you know what? Don't worry about that second part.
Yeah, I know, because I looked at it and I was like, did I really need to read this part? Because it's not even connected.
Right. This is a special message from Rizzo Incorporated. For decades, Rizzo Incorporated and Rizzo's Beverages has provided you with a wealth of variety of delicious treats, fruit drinks, and adult beverages. Rizzo's is one of the most trusted, recognized, and reliable brands around. Now, unscrupulous groups are spreading vicious lies about the Rizzo brand. We at Rizzo Incorporated will fight these false narratives with everything in our legal arsenal. There's a rumor spreading that suggests that Rizzo is including dangerous parasites in our new Spectrum vodka flavor, Rizzo's Spectrum Brown Vodka. This is a dangerous rumor, and it is totally false. There is no dangerous mind-controlling parasite included in the Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Like all of our products, Rizzo Spectrum Brown is as safe to drink as any other vodka. Do not listen to the lies and the false rumors. Rizzo Spectrum Brown is safe, smooth, and refreshing. Thank you. And now we return you to your regularly scheduled program. And we're back. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you can find the details in the show notes. There are direct links, so go ahead and check that out. Oh shoot, I done lost my place.
You lost your place?
Yeah, well, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done with all of that. So, Zachary, you know what's next. Ed Snyder, my man, why don't you tell us some of your favorite parts of this movie, Project X 2012?
Okay. Where to begin with this? Favorite parts. There's a certain sequence when there's a song that it's kind of a montage moment. It's always been my favorite part of the movie. Don't ask me why. It's with there's a certain remix of a Yeah 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 song playing. I'm trying to think of the name off the top of my head. It's losing me. I don't know, because it's kind of hard to pick a certain favorite part in a movie like this. Overall, I'd say the gnome part. When they go to steal the gnome.
When they steal the gnome.
When they unintentionally steal the gnome.
They didn't unintentionally steal it. They stole that joint on purpose. They claimed that they was going to. They claimed that it was going to give it back, but they stole it on purpose.
But it's not like they went there with the intent to take the guy's gnome. They didn't even know it was inside the gnome until they busted it up with the baseball bat later.
What's his name? The dude that orchestrated the whole thing. I forgot his name already.
Costa.
Yeah, Costa knew because he's been there before. That's his man's. That's where he gets all his weed from. So he knew the gnome was in the house, and so he went there. And I it may have been like something in a moment for him, like in his spirit of the moment, he decided he wanted to take the gnome, but he knew he was stealing it. So the whole thing when after he steals it and then runs away with it, that was spectacular. That was one of my favorite moments.
And then he kind of comes back out of nowhere, like and charges the van.
It was almost a
when
jump
they think
scare.
they got away.
Right, it was almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Because apparently they drove around the block and they are in their cars that they think they lost him, and like a villain from a horror movie, he crashes through the side window. Zachary,
give me back my gnome.
Right. Zachary, what do you got?
The beginning of the movie when they're just coming in, and they're playing a rap song. He's singing into the rap song, and then he goes into the field like, "Oh yeah, this cake." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my dick wet." And then the mom comes like, "You're gonna get what wet?" He's like, "Oh, nothing."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You awesome. Heard him." He
right.
He's like, "What's getting wet?"
Right. And he almost says it to her face. He doesn't know that she's right behind him. And I was like, "Oh man!" And basically, I appreciate all of the laugh out loud moments. This movie had a lot of laugh out loud moments. It kind of slows down in some parts, and just like a party, like I've only been to a party like that maybe a couple of times, but even when I was young once. She's looking at me like that for. I was young once, so not as big as that. Obviously, no party is as big as that, but basically a wild party,
like 2,000 people, whatever.
Right. Nothing like that, but a party where people are partying and basically cutting up. And I get tired of a party quick, so I'm the type of dude that'll leave quick. It's like, these people are having fun,
Same.
and I'm tired of watching them having fun, and so I'm ready to go home. So, Ed, name another favorite part you had.
Same guy at the end when he comes back with the flamethrower.
Oh my! See, that connects the gnome.
Sets the entire neighborhood.
The gnome has his own story arc.
Yeah, full circle. Comes back at the end. Dude comes rolling through, and it's funny because this actually has a Lethal Weapon connection because that's the exact same neighborhood that they filmed in Lethal Weapon. That's where Riggs lives.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, Riggs.
Oh man.
Because that's on the back lot of Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers produced both films.
Right.
So actually, where you can see his house when he's firing the flamethrower when he first appears, that's actually at the house from Lethal Weapon.
Oh, so that's fascinating.
You got a Lethal Weapon in anyway. So yeah.
That was.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny bit of trivia.
That was fascinating how he showed up with that flamethrower, and the reason why he wanted it back so badly, not because it was a precious item, is because that's where he kept all of his what MDMAs. What do you call that?
That was ecstasy.
Ecstasy, right? That's where he kept all of his ecstasy, and I'm like, oh my God, that's why he wanted that gnome. He really didn't care about the statue. And
then Miles busted right open and everyone gets in on it. So
see,
yep.
And it was like the movie was joyful and it kind of angered me at the same time because I hate it when people get disrespectful at somebody else's house. It's like you go to the house, this is not he doesn't own his house. That's his parents' house. And then you're breaking windows, going in places that he blocked, like going in the house in the first place, and he didn't want them. It's like they started cutting up almost immediately. So
well, that's his own fault for hiring that security team that he hired.
He had to get what he could afford.
Costa was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get these two kids to be security."
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think the one kid was like 8 years old.
Oh my God, they were so young, but they had some heart though.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of the movie. So Zachary
took that punch like a champ.
Right. Oh yeah, that part and the part when they tackled him at the end. You remember that? They did like a high-low on that dude. Zach, what's the part that you like?
When the cops first came up, and then cops were like, well, you can't come in the house because that's against the law because I didn't give you permission. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, but you're not an adult. He's like, well, technically, I'm 8.5 years old and I'm an adult. And in my culture, yeah, I've been an adult for years. And I'm like,
right.
I forgot you're a Jew. I forgot about that.
He said, in my culture, I've been adult since I was 13.
I was like, he kept talking about, oh, yeah, I know these things because I'm from New Jersey and stuff. I'm like, what?
No, what city he kept bragging about? Was it Brooklyn? I just
pretty sure it was New Jersey.
No, it wasn't New Jersey. He kept saying we do this in some place.
I'm trying to think. It was
Well, I'm glad that
I can't remember.
I'm glad that you're like me. But he was like, yeah, we do this.
Minor detail.
Right. Well, let's say it's Brooklyn. I don't know what city it was. We're just going to pretend that it was Brooklyn. So he said, yeah, this is how we do it in Brooklyn. He kept saying and he kept saying it. Because I guess that's how he got his cred from claiming that he was from that place or whatever. That's how he got his street cred. And I remember like being younger, how being popular is one of the most important things that you could want. You know what I'm saying? It's like it would be nice for that people know you and cheer you on. So that was their huge motivation for the party. Just to be seen, just to be known. That was like their driving motivation for all of that. So
isn't that what high school was?
I mean,
popularity contest.
I know that it was for some people, and I appreciated being known, but it wasn't like my driving force as much. Like I appreciated it, but my big thing was I was big. I really liked the schoolwork. It's kind of strange to say, and I
nothing wrong with that.
I did it for the art. I really appreciate it. Because I've done a lot of drawings, and that's what brought about my love for art is doing it in school. So that's what I did it for. I didn't. It didn't. I had low self-esteem anyway, so I wasn't seeking it because I didn't think I was worthy.
I got you.
So Zachary, what's another one of your favorite parts?
It's in the end where the dad's like, I didn't think you had it in you. He's like, I'm sorry. He was like, no, I really didn't think you had it in you to do all this. And I'm like, okay, so in a sense, he's proud, but still disappointed. Right.
He's almost proud of his son.
Right.
Does anybody recognize that dude that played his dad?
Nope, I don't.
He looks like a character actor from like 1-bit episodes on comedy TV or something. Like he'll pop up in an episode of 30 Rock or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably is a character actor.
I don't know. Or someone you'll see on like a Geico commercial or something.
Right. But he's actually, at least right now, he's a series regular on Blackish. So he plays.
Oh, really?
Right. So he plays the boss of Andre, and played by, what's his name? I forgot his name. Nope, it's gone. So he plays. So it's not really a workplace comedy, but sometimes it follows the dad character to work, and so he plays the boss. And in that show, he's totally clueless. Like he's the boss. He's that boss that doesn't know anything, and I appreciate him in that role. So when I seen him in this movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's the old man right there. That's that man. I know that guy. So
nice.
Right. So a lot of the like I said, the laugh out loud moments, like when they were in the locker room, and so the chubby kid, they're talking about stuff, and then dude shows a picture of this girl that he claimed he had smashed, and she's topless, and so then they look at the chubby kid like, dude, what's wrong with you? Because he had a hard on.
Oh yeah, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so
that, and also later on when they jump off the roof together onto the
balloon
bounce,
right?
The bounce house.
And then when what's his face does it, the guy we were just talking about, it's like already deflated, or isn't he the one? Yeah, he goes second.
Right.
It's already like, I don't even know how he survived that, but it's still a funny part because like it's dead silence, and all of a sudden you hear him go,
right,
laughing and stuff.
And then
that's how they know he's okay.
And then they showed him later on he had totally broken his hand. His fingers were all pointing in different directions. Yeah. And then there was
when you're high and drunk, you don't feel pain.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that. Yeah, he's gonna feel that. He probably felt it when he woke up.
JB gonna feel that tomorrow.
Right. There was there was when they had the little person and they put him in the oven. So that was a messed up part.
Yeah.
Put him in the oven. Then he gets out. He started punching everyone in the nuts. I was like, oh yeah,
yes,
that's justified.
Yeah, he was punching everybody in the nuts.
And he's the one. He also drove the car into the pool.
Right, and he drove the car into the pool. It's like F your car.
Yeah, that was his retaliation. Yep.
So he kept retaliating. He couldn't stop. It was like nothing could satiate his vengeance. It's not like they turned it on.
Threw him in an oven.
Right. It's not like they turned him on. Hey, Zach, punching him in the balls, does that remind you of anything?
You mean like from a video game or from a movie?
This child, when he was 2 years old, he used to rock around punching adults in the balls because he thought it was funny.
Oh, I did?
Yes, you... Oh, my God. I can't believe you've forgotten about that.
I was 2 years old. You expect me to remember that? Okay, that's good to know.
I would think those were cherished
Props
memories.
if you remembered that.
I would think those are cherished memories of your childhood. Yeah, he thought it was funny to go around punching dudes in the balls. So, mainly me and a friend of mine.
Interesting.
Oh.
He also turned our house into a winter wonderland with oatmeal. But that's another story. That's you would think, yeah, leaving him by himself, he's his own house party. So, yeah, just amazing. So, anybody got any further thoughts on the film as a whole?
I would say on how they decided to film it was pretty interesting.
Right.
It was like, okay, we're going to have one guy filming it for majority of the film, and we will use other footages from different people if they're filming it. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. Instead of using a big camera set and, all that, they decided to do a personal diary, something like that.
Yeah, it was like a personal diary. Another term for it they use is a found footage film, but obviously this footage was never lost.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be an event for documenting his birthday or his 18th birthday, was it, or something like that?
Right.
For and then that just one thing led to another. They were able to get this party happening. It actually happens. It turns into what it does, and everyone's got it documented because it's 2012, and every time Dick and Harry have a cell phone. So
right. Well, see, Costa, he was hyping up the party like majorly. I mean, he was advertising it on. He texts everybody he knew, like with a group text, a blast text, or whatever they called it back.
It ends up going to being an email spread.
Yeah, he
ended
did
up going to Craigslist, and I was
he
like,
did the
wow.
Craigslist. He did. There were
Craigslist,
adults
right?
Showing up at a party, and that gave me mad creepy vibes with the adult there.
I mean, not only that, there was a scene where when they was getting the stuff, and he was he was talking to Kirby because they seen him at the store.
Kirby is the girl.
No, Miles.
Right.
They seen Miles at the store. It was like,
Miles.
Hey, let's get Miles to come.
I was about to bring that up.
It was like, let's get Miles to come. I was like, yeah, sure. Miles, come to the party. Like, yeah, it's going to be a high school party. Then the cashier looking at him like, what are you looking at? I'm like, oh.
And then when he finds out, like, it's actually the same party that they're talking about.
Yeah,
and
like, oh, that's the
cool.
part. Like, yeah,
he's
I'm
like, cool, I'll
there.
see you tonight. And he's like, hey, what? Bring your bat or bring your baseball bat.
Yeah,
we'll play
right.
catch.
I'm like,
He's
why are you
no,
saying
I
that?
Messed it
won't.
all up. He
was like, nah, I won't.
He instantly turned to a dweeb. And that basically shows you real Casca. That is for real Casca, not the facade that he puts up like he does it at the very end of the interview.
Yeah, he's like fanboying.
Right.
It's a funny moment. Yeah.
So we chose this. We went on ahead, like it was all a big mistake and whatnot to because it was of a mix up. This was actually a pretty good film, and I actually quite enjoyed it. There were some parts that were kind of slow, but I really enjoyed the laugh out loud moments, the documentary style film that they chose.
It was a happy accident.
Right. And the documentary style film that they did was really very interesting. I really like the way that they employed it. Like most of it was from one camera, and then you had other shots from like the police dash cam, the helicopter news cam. It was all very well done. And then there was some snippets where you had like the security guys and the security kids, and they used their cell phone to tell their stories, and they were able to get it all in. So
to broadcast their point of views,
right. So Ed, when we were talking, you said that this was a guilty pleasure. So why would you describe it as such?
Just because it's just not the kind of movie that people, when you bring it up, it's not like it gets the best reception from the general audience. At least for the times that I've brought it up or I've talked about it with people. I mean, take my co-host for example. You know, he's not didn't really have too many good things to say at least about the film.
Right.
So it's and it's funny because I'm the one who introduced the film to him, and I remember him laughing more than he leads on to us to believe. So, no, it's just based on how I think the movie, or how I feel the movie's received by the general public or the general audience. I think it's a lot funnier than it gets credit to be. It's different. One thing we never really talked about is the soundtrack. It's got, can't believe I'm actually saying this shit, but it's actually got a hot soundtrack. The whole movie, you know,
right.
It's like it complements the movie well. It really does. It makes you kind of like feel that, plus the POV perspective. It makes you feel like you're at the house party, like you're one of the attendees, you know,
right,
you're
right.
having fun, seeing all this stuff go down.
Right.
That's why I'm kind of confused, especially based off of how we talked about the amount of money that are made. Yeah, why haven't we seen a second one of these? You know, we're going on 10 years now,
right.
And I know there were kind of like rumblings about a sequel within the first couple years after this one came out, because I don't remember them, but then nothing ever came to fruition.
Right.
And I don't know. I kind of feel like that's a missed opportunity. Because I could have definitely went for, you know, I still can, you know, go for another hour and a half of this.
I think
it's a fun movie. It's a lot funner than people give it credit to be.
Yeah, I think like once every 3 or 4 years they'll do like a house party movie. I don't know why they didn't try to do a sequel, because when a movie's like really successful, they, especially if it's a house party type movie. And I keep saying House Party. There was a movie called House Party, and they made like 4 sequels of that one.
Kid and Play.
Right. And then there was another one that was a house party that was, I think, Porky's. They at least made a Porky's too. So even Revenge of the Nerds had some house party elements in there, and they made a sequel to that one. So, you know, it's, I guess, sometimes critical reception can hurt a movie as much as help it. So even if it oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I was going to bring up the fact that, you know, one of the main producer of this movie is Todd Phillips, who directed all 3 Hangover movies. The dude literally remade his own hit with the second one, even though I think the second Hangover movie is funnier than the first one. That's just my personal opinion. But my point is, he did 3 of those movies. How come we never got at least a second Project X, a movie that, you know, he has a say in this? He produced the film.
Right.
He produced both of them. Because I believe Green Hat Productions is his company.
Right. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just surprised, you know, the fact that we got 3 Hangover movies, but we never got another one of these.
Right.
You know, it's just weird.
Right. But I imagine that there will be others. But I think that it's just that the very structure of this movie was very well done. Like I said, there were some slow moments, and watching people partying can get tiring, at least for an old person. Zachary, did you ever feel tired of watching them party?
Watching what now?
When you were watching the movie and they were partying?
Not really.
Not really. See, because he's a young dude, and I knew he was going to say that. So, you know what? Let's move right along to the trivia section.
Sure.
Zachary, why don't you start us off?
This was the most pirated movie in 2012. Approximately 8 8,720,000 downloads.
Now, how about you try that again?
Yeah. Don't. 8,720.
No, that's not 1,000, yo.
8,720 downloads.
You're not gonna say 1,000 twice.
Yeah.
8,720,000 downloads. That's a lot. That's a little bit of revenue that they lost. Yeah, but they
considering the Dark Knight Rises came out this same year, I'm surprised that's not number one.
Right. Well, see, I think the prime audience of this movie were technically savvy enough to go ahead and motivated enough to do the
Good
downloads.
Point. Yeah. Good point.
Whereas I think Dark Knight Rises, the audience is a little older, and they would prefer to watch it in the theater rather than pirate it. So this filmed on a set that opposed. Wait a minute. I'm messing up. This was filmed in a set as opposed to a real neighborhood in order to minimize disruption to the locals. This proved to be a wise move as the set was effectively trashed during production. Nevertheless, nearby locals complained to Burbank police about the noise.
Shocker.
Right.
So some of the footage was shot by the cast with cell phones, flip, iPhone, and BlackBerry phones that were handed out by the crew. Over 10 hours of footage were recorded, mostly due to the cast continuously recording.
Right. So
yeah,
that's fascinating. And it looks like it. It looks like it was shot on cell phone.
So to answer your question on why there was not a sequel, this was loosely based on a house party of Corey Worthington and Delaney in Australia. The then teenager posted the address of his house party on MySpace, attracting around 500 people and caused over $20,000 in property damage. His party attracted journalists and was widely disliked by the public, having been assaulted by a group of teenagers after the event. So yeah, that is the reason why there was no Project X2, because it's like, oh, this is based on a true event that happened. We're just gonna change some things around.
Right. So to create a believable bond between them, lead actors Thomas Mann, Oliver Cooper, and Jonathan Daniel Brown were sent to Disneyland for a weekend getaway in Big Bear City in California. That was nice of them, sending them to Disneyland. I'll take him up on that offer.
Yeah. When the camera catches the young lady urinating, she gestures for it to shoo away. According to a popular internet rumor, the lady was urinating in a corner due to a lack of bathrooms on the set and was irritated by this violation of her privacy. Only by paying her an extra amount of money were the editors allowed to use the footage in the film. However, her expression is ambiguous, and she almost appears to be smiling or laughing while gesturing the camera away from her body function.
I mean, she is high and drunk.
Yeah. Well, she's an actor, so she's acting high and drunk. But yeah, and she probably did have to use the bathroom. So I believe this.
I did not know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, did you see that part? She was kind of kneeling down, and it's a very quick shot.
I know the part. Oh, I know the part very well. I know it. I've seen this movie a handful of times.
Right.
So, I know the part that that's referring to that I was reading. So, I didn't know that inside information though.
Right. So this was a rumor.
Interesting.
This was a rumor. It's not been verified, but I believe it wholeheartedly. So go ahead, Zach.
Although the party seems to have more than 1,000 people attending, only around 200 extras were used during filming.
That's good editing. Was good. That's good editing right there.
Movie magic right there.
Right. Outgrossed its production budget by $9 million in its first week release.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that.
Right.
Box office. Yeah. So no surprise there.
Yeah, it made its money back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right. The studio disliked the title Project X, feeling that it was more appropriate for a sci-fi film, and suggested retitling the film "Happy Birthday, Thomas Cub." After a message seen on the school jumbotron, producer Todd Phillips countered this by saying that, firstly, the studio's suggested title made the film sound like a good-natured buddy movie instead of the no-holds-barred comedy it actually was. And secondly, that he and the writers saw Costa as more of the focal character than Thomas. In the end, neither party could think of a better title, so the finished title stuck with the Project X moniker.
You know what? I agree with the production company on this one. I really feel that Project X was a bad title. But not because of the mix-up. It's like, it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with what happened in the movie. They could have thought of a better title. But the funny thing about it is that, I don't know, I probably wrote it down later on in this trivia thing. But Project X that was just the I don't want to say code name. That's just what they called the film before they found a proper title for it. And then in the end, it was like, you know what? We're just going to call it Project X.
Yeah, I see what they're going for, but I've always felt that it was a lazy title myself.
Right.
It's lazy thinking on their end. So
right. I mean, I agree also that Happy Birthday Thomas Cub probably wasn't the best title, but I think
I see the humor in that title, though.
I think it would have worked. It's like,
me too.
It's a fake out. You know, it makes you think that it's a happy feel good movie, and in reality, it's a whole no holds bars. And you're right, it does focus on Costa's character. Costa's a major a-hole. He's the type of dude that I could not be friends with. When I was growing up, I could not appreciate dudes that got me in trouble. I couldn't do it.
Right.
Because when I was growing
and
up,
I see what they mean about Costas being the focal character, but the movie is centered around Thomas.
Right.
It's his birthday.
Right.
It takes place at his house. It's his everything that's his is on the line.
Right.
So
it's his journey, and the most striking thing. And we didn't talk about this earlier, but the most striking thing about the film is that at the end, he got what he wanted, and then he realized what it cost him, like all the notoriety he got at school, what he actually wanted. And then he lost it. It cost him his friend, like it cost him his family and his house, but it cost him like his best friend growing up. And then, made up. And that was, what's her name? Nicker? Kirby, right. I knew it was a video game character. So, he and Kirby was able to make up. So, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then there was actually another part in the film where he's making out with the hot chick, and then predictably his would-be girlfriend catches him, and then, he's chasing her down. And then when she walks away from the party and he's walking back to the house, and they play this song, like it was like a song like "This is the greatest day of my life" or something like that. That was the theme of the song, and it's really he's really broken at that moment. So I thought that was a brilliant use of the soundtrack at that moment. So I agree. Yeah. So
that happens a couple times in the movie for sure.
Right. So it really is Thomas's movie. So they could have used that "Happy Birthday Thomas Cub." That would have been good. So go ahead, Zachary.
Most of the cast are all first-timers, recruited via an open casting call.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it. But Thomas really did. Thomas, man, he really pulled his weight. He really did. They all did a great job. I don't think some of them probably acted before, obviously, but I thought they all did a great job. And I think Thomas, he was really impressive, at least to me. But then again, I'm the type of dude that's easy to please. I can't really spot bad. You have to be really bad for me to notice. Like, you have to be like high school play bad. You have to be like, no, you have to be church play bad for me to notice how bad of an actor you are. You have to be a blaxploitation film bad for me to understand how bad it is. But for me, it was particularly impressive. So Thomas Mann is one of the few members of the cast to have prior acting experience. He had to audition 7 times before landing the role. Dax Flame, I'm saying this wrong. Dax Flame, who was once the 16th most subscribed YouTuber of all time, but before starring in this movie, got his role through an open casting call. Unfortunately, after this movie, I'm saying it wrong again. Unfortunately, after the movie, his career on YouTube and acting fell off as of March 2020. He was working in Los Angeles, making ends meet in a sushi restaurant. Oh, that's rough. 16th most subscribed YouTuber, and to fall that hard.
Well, I think there's a reason for that. I want to say he kind of when like the Me Too thing and controversies were all coming out, when skeletons were all coming out of the closet with people over the last handful of years, I think something, maybe whether it be a video or an email or something, popped up in his past that kind of got him exposed, and I'm pretty sure I remember reading about that because I am familiar with Dax Flame, and I remember when he was a YouTuber, and then I remember, what was it, 10 years ago almost, same year as this, actually 2012,
right,
was when 21 Jump Street came out, and I remember he was in that. He's one of the main characters in that movie. So yeah, and yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it sucks.
Behave properly, folks. I mean, that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Treat people with respect.
Yeah.
And
if what I'm saying is even true, yes, right. Exactly.
Treat people with respect, and no means no. So you can take the next one.
Karma, it's a real thing.
Right.
All right, so writer Michael Bacall worked on the script in the evenings, as during the day he was working on the screenplays to 21 Jump Street and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. He was actually writing the movie as he was making this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny too because he really hasn't done anything since this run of movies.
Wow,
unfortunately,
right? I was looking him up, and he hadn't. It didn't seem like he had done a whole bunch after this, but I guess he burned out, or he decided to dip out of the entertainment business and go in a different direction.
He was an actor before a writer. He was an actor about 20 years ago or so. I remember him. He was a minor character in. There was a sequel to the slasher film Urban Legend called Urban Legend's Final Cut. I remember him being one of the main cast members of the film. Him and Anthony Anderson.
Right.
Were like best friends in that movie.
That's the name I couldn't remember earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Anderson.
Anthony Anderson, there you go.
All right. So you're saying they
were best friends in that movie. Yeah.
Okay.
And he had roles in a couple of other films, and TV shows, and then he got into writing. And then I guess things fizzled out because he hasn't done anything since. I don't even remember if he did anything with the second. Maybe 22 Jump Street was the last thing he did.
It could be. I
want to say it was.
Right. I didn't look too deep into it. But you know what? I think you're right. I think he did do 22 Jump Street. But here's the thing, though. He probably gone off to write some novels or something. I can see him working on a novel.
Yeah,
he probably have enough money to take a couple of years off. Although it's now 2021, so who knows? Zachary, go ahead, take the last one.
Director Nima Noazade's background in commercials landed him the job as Helmer.
Yeah.
He intentionally moved from London to Los Angeles for what he thought would be a 2-week stint on referring the screenplay. He ended up staying for 2 years.
Right. So that was he was actually refining the screenplay, but yeah, we all know what you meant. So but you handled his name brilliantly. You must have been going
perfect.
Yeah, when you read it and you was going over that in your head while we was talking, huh?
No.
Right.
So
nailed it though. You really did.
Yeah, you nailed that name. But yeah, so he did commercials, and then he got it. I think when they meant Helmer, I think they meant I guess they're talking about him as a director.
Helmer, the director.
Yeah. So
he helmed the project.
Right.
Yeah.
So and then he moved from London to Los Angeles. Dude was on the road. He's another dude kind of vanished. I don't know really what happened to him. His directing videos.
Well, you ever seen American Ultra? His last movie?
I didn't see the movie, but I saw that.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay. How was that one?
No. I think there's no.
You said no.
That film is a big bowl of nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That can crush your career, having a bad film.
Yeah.
So You know what? We're gonna switch up. We're gonna go and see what the critics thought. So the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, they gave it a 25%. And you know what? Honestly, I can understand why. They're all old. Our audience gave it 61% because we know who this movie was marketed to. Right? They know what's up. IMDb reviews, they put it at 6.6 slash 10 out of 10%. So, Ed, why don't you tell us what Peter thought?
All right, so Peter Travers of Rolling Stone said that the movie has all the helm of a tweet, but Phillips has made it look pimp, and until the police and the party, Project X really is a riot.
Yeah, that's the apt description. So, yeah, I got no fault with his analysis. Zachary.
Sarah Maselli Feeders from Movie Freaks.
Hold on.
Maselli or myself? Michael. What is it? Go ahead.
What did you say?
Feeders?
No.
Maselli?
Michelle? Are you saying you've never seen the name Michelle before written down?
Not like that.
Oh my God.
Not like that.
Yeah.
No.
That second L threw you off?
Yeah, the second L threw you off, I think. But I don't know if I've seen Michelle written any other way. Yeah. All right, so let's start again.
Sarah Maselli Feeders from movieshrieks.com. It is a failed attempt to analyze what it means to rebel in the 21st century, and as such ends up being a party not for the ages or the record books, but instead for the dustbin of rancid ideas and concept betters left forgotten. She's never been to a party before.
Yeah, she'd never been to a party before. She was probably grossed out by the gratuitous brush shots.
Also, what do you mean rebel? This is not about rebelling.
This is exactly about rebelling.
And she's having a party.
These are boomers. These are boomers reviewing.
Right. Yeah, I think she probably was a boomer, but yeah, there was this was definitely about, especially Costa. He was rebelling against his own friends, you know? And I've had friends like that, and I cut them off because, as I said earlier, I cannot stand friends that get me in trouble. When I was growing up, I had a belt to look forward to if I invited people in. If I got caught with friends in my house, that was a bad night for me. So no, I couldn't deal with it. So Richard Propes, you know what? I got one of those names. I don't know if it's Props or Propes. I'm going to go with Props. Richard Props, the independentcritic.com. While I enjoyed the film tremendously, actually, if the description thus sounds completely appalling, then it's likely not the film for you. That's an excellent review. I agree wholeheartedly. I applaud Richard for this soundbite. It's excellent. I like it.
All right, we're gonna round it out.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick Gamble at Cinevo he said, a found footage style examination of high school culture that successfully manages to sink to the lowest depths of entertainment. Someone didn't like this.
You know what? Here's what's funny about it. This is like, I try to mix it up with the fresh tomatoes or rotten tomatoes. You obviously read a rotten tomato, but you know what? He is absolutely right. in his hate of the film, he kind of perfectly describes it from, yes, it does reach to the lowest depths of entertainment, but you know what? Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes we want something that's, it's like when Stephen Colbert does his Meanwhile segments. It's like sometimes he'll make a beautiful chandelier, and other times he'll just pick up some broken glass off the ground and tape it together. So yeah, it's sometimes you want that. Sometimes you want to eat some Cheetos and cheese dip in the middle of the night and call it a meal. It'll work. So yeah, gentlemen, any final thoughts on this film, Project X 2012?
No.
I mean, it's a harmless film. It's a fun way to kill an hour and a half. If you got HBO Max, throw it on. If you're looking for something fun to watch, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with it. Unless, you just don't like fun. It's a party. It's a fun film. It holds up after watching it again recently, this time around. And yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. As a matter of fact, I can see this film being shown while at a party. It looks like that type of movie where you could actually play it during the party.
Background noise.
Right,
Yep.
right. That would be great. So, all I got to say is, like, I agree with you on the soundtrack. I didn't recognize most of the songs, but I did recognize Eminem and Kanye West. Those are two of my favorite recording artists, reputations notwithstanding. So, and they played some of the best.
And I
songs
recognize
from their
Kid
catalog.
Cudi on there.
Oh, okay, that's great. I don't
Love
even.
Kid Cudi.
Right. So, finally, Project X, as of this recording, is available on HBO Max. The next episode, we team up with Stingray from the CTS Interview Room. So once again, if you like this show, then please rate us, write a review, and share it with someone. Believe me, it matters. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Backlook Cinema Podcast, and Twitter at Backlook Cinema. And you can visit our website at backlookcinema.com. Ed, hit them once again. Let them know where you're from. Let them know where they can find you.
Yes. Primarily the Film Effect podcast. Mad Dad Movie Review is coming back. But for now, I really wanted to promote Film Effect. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. The handle there is both the Film Effect Podcast. We're on Twitter. Actually, I would say we're the most active on Twitter. Our handle there is at Film Effect Pod. We're on all major platforms, or you can find each episode directly at podpage.com/the-film-effect-podcast. Our direct merch store link is on there, as well as our entire back catalog. I think as of now, we got about 32 main episodes or 31 main episodes, and I think I have about 5 or 6 Film Attack episodes, which are just 15 to 20 minute non-spoiler reviews on new movies that came out in theaters. That was just something fresh, just something to give an idea of what I thought of the film, and I called those series of reviews Film Attack.
Oh,
so yeah, the Film Effect and Mad Dad Movie Review, that's where I'm at, and this has been really fun. I can't thank you enough for having me on here. This was a blast. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Oh, it was great having you, and I really appreciate you being on here. One final question. Are you going to put out...
Yeah, sure.
Or I'm not even sure if you did, but did you put out a Mad Dash... What did you call it? A Mad Dash episode?
No, a Mad Dad Movie Review.
No. The special episodes where you have reviews. What are those called?
Oh, Film Attack.
Oh, Film Attack.
I've done a few of those. Like the most recent episode that I did, besides the top 10 of the year so far, was I reviewed Spiral from the Book of Saul. Oh,
so you hadn't attacked Black Widow yet?
No, actually, I don't know. I'm never in a huge rush to watch Marvel movies, unless it's like a huge event or something like the Avengers. Like I saw that opening night, like at midnight. But as far as the other Marvel films go, I'm a casual comic book fan. If I don't see it with Madeline, I'll see it first thing when it comes out on 4K Blu-ray. I'll get around to it. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, we saw it. We did an experimental episode, a bonus episode where we talked about it without revealing anything, just because I thought it would be fun. I actually had this mad idea where I would actually talk to people as they left the theater and ask them what they thought. But there was only like 6 or 7 people in the theater that we were at besides ourselves.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, this isn't really going to work. So
at least you tried.
Right. Well, I had the idea.
Something different.
And then I chickened out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
So
that's something different.
Right. So what is
So should I go rush to go see it?
If you're just a casual fan, probably not rush, but I really enjoyed it. Zach really enjoyed it. It had a lot of action. It had a central family story. It was very similar to Fast and the Furious in that way, where it was, I don't want to say it was family focused, but it really was one of the stronger elements in that film. And then, like I mean, I just go for the action. The action was outstanding. And then the story, just the fact that they had a great story was bonus. And the acting, especially by Florence, how do you say her name? Pugh. Thank you.
Pugh.
Thank you so much, because I've been messing it up.
She's my favorite new actress right now. So,
oh my God, her acting, and she basically, but I mean, everybody was still in scenes, but when she's on the film, it's almost like the film gets brighter, and so she has like the funniest moments. See that, yeah. She has the funniest moments in the film. There's a moment in the film where she almost like wrote one of the funniest moments in the film by accident. So Florence Pugh is definitely an actor to watch. So
yes.
What film are you most forward to what you call again, film attacking?
What's coming out? What am I looking forward to?
What that you're personally looking forward to, that you're ready to attack?
Oh, right. Well, right now it's Halloween Kills, which comes out in October. I like I said, that goes back to my horror roots. That comes out October 15th, and I'm looking forward to that. What else? We're getting towards the end of summer, and that's when I'll start hearing about all the big festival movies coming out, like the award movies that come out in like October, November, December. So I really can't answer that fully until I know what's coming out, because it's around this time of the year when they start releasing trailers, because the first big film festival is coming up at the first week of September, and that's TIFF in Toronto, the Toronto International Film Festival. So we should get a better idea of what the big films coming out later this year are once that festival occurs.
Right.
So we're getting there.
Awesome.
I wish I had a better answer for you, but right now,
I mean,
all eyes are on Halloween Kills.
Right. Halloween Kills is probably the perfect answer. I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who enjoy a good scare. So Zach,
yes,
tell them where can they email us if they want to get a hold of us?
Yeah, you can send your feedback at fanmail@backlookcinema.com if you so do, please.
That does it for this episode. And I just want you to be safe, hug your loved ones, and be outstanding.